KJ Global Channel, The Political System and Me. Series 2, How the System Enters Everyday Life. E10, My Land, Livelihood, and Environment. Long before I learned the language of politics, I understood the language of land. Land is not an idea. It is a living reality beneath your feet. Land is the soil that feeds you, the river that carries your memory, the forest that shelters your seasons, the mountain that holds your ancestors' graves, the field that teaches you patience, the road that connects you to markets and medicine, the air that enters your lungs without asking your permission. For many people, land is not property. It is identity. It is survival. It is dignity. The viewer does not encounter this first as theory, but as a condition of life. Explain how land tenure, registration, resource allocation, environmental rules, and dispute resolution shape livelihoods and future security. And yet, in countless societies, the most painful political battles are not fought in parliament buildings. They are fought on farmland, in forests at riversides, and around village boundaries, where livelihoods meet power. Because the political system does not only decide who governs, it decides who owns land, who can use it, who can access natural resources, who profits from forests and mines, who is displaced, who is protected, and who is sacrificed. If the political system is unjust, land becomes the first victim. My livelihood is not only shaped by my effort. The system reveal is land tenure and resource governance. Land is the first economy. Control of land is control of livelihood and future. In plain language, the hidden mechanism is land tenure and resource governance. Under capture, ownership becomes mere permission. Under justice, it becomes secure, shared stewardship. The environment reveals how a system treats the future and the unborn who cannot yet vote. Even in modern cities, where people live far from farms, land remains the foundation of daily life. Food comes from land. Water comes from land. Energy comes from land. Housing stands on land. Infrastructure cuts through land. Climate stability depends on land. So when the political system fails in land governance, everything else begins to fail too. Land is not merely a resource. Land is the nation's bloodstream. Does the system protect people from land grabs? Or does it allow powerful actors to seize land through loopholes and intimidation? Livelihood begins in institutions. Are land registries transparent? Do courts enforce land rights fairly? Can communities challenge land grabs safely? If power wants your land, power can take your land, unless law, institutions, records, and remedies stand in the way. Instead of stopping at the visible outcome, map land, livelihood, and environment through the rights chain. Right or legitimate interest. Law or constitutional rule. Responsible institution. Complaint or review. Hearing and evidence. Remedy. Enforcement. Each arrow asks a different accountability question. Who authorized the decision? Who had the duty to act? What record should exist? And what institution can correct failure? A broken outcome may begin far upstream. The visible harm can come from an unjust rule, an unfunded institution, a hidden record, a captured oversight body, or a remedy that exists only on paper. The chain prevents us from reducing a system failure to one personality. It identifies the point where law, capacity, evidence, oversight, or enforcement stopped working. When citizens and professionals can locate that break, criticism becomes more accurate and reform becomes more practical. For this episode, the principal mechanism is land tenure and resource governance. The production graphic must make every link readable on a phone screen and must label country-specific or proposed arrangements honestly. Under dictatorship, land, livelihood, and environment are shaped primarily by concentrated command. Information is restricted, institutions answer upward, and challenge may carry personal risk. In a fragile democracy, formal rules may exist while patronage, unequal capacity, corruption, politicization, or weak enforcement makes protection inconsistent. In a functioning federal democracy, authority is constitutionally distributed, common rights remain enforceable, and more than one institution can question, review, or correct harmful power. No democratic design is self-executing. Institutions require capacity, integrity, and public participation. The viewer should compare who decides, how authority was obtained, whether records are public, whether affected people participate, and whether independent dispute resolution and remedy are available in practice. Protection becomes durable only when land, livelihood, and environment are converted into rules, responsibilities, records, and remedies. The minimum guardrails are 1. Secure and reviewable land rights. 2. Transparent land, water, and resource records. 3. Environmental and social assessment. 4. Meaningful community participation. 5. Independent dispute resolution and remedy. These safeguards work as a system. A published rule without an independent reviewer can become theater. Oversight without records cannot see. Participation without safety can expose people. And a remedy without enforcement does not repair the harm. Global relevance. The institutional test for land, livelihood, and environment applies across political labels. Who decides? What limits power? What information is public? Who participates? And whether a real correction or remedy exists. Myanmar relevance. Apply the lesson on land, livelihood, and environment without treating one organization, community, or proposed arrangement as the whole country. Separate existing law and institutions from interim or aspirational designs. Here is the civic practice for this episode. See and ask. Find out how land is recorded and disputed where you live, and who benefits from the confusion. Verify. Examine one land record, tenure rule, environmental approval, registry process, or dispute pathway. ACT. Privately map a land or environmental issue from record to institution to remedy. Seek qualified advice before any dispute action. Review. Record whether you can name the responsible institution, evidence, safeguard, or remedy, and one safe next step. Protect victims, witnesses, family members, confidential records, and digital security before taking any outward step. Does the system develop with consent or develop through force? Land never lies. The soil remembers. The river remembers. The forest remembers. And future generations will remember too, either with gratitude or with grief. In the next chapter, we will enter the most personal arena where land and politics intersect with the deepest human freedom: faith, conscience, and belief. Because even if a system cannot confiscate your soul, it will try to control the space where your conscience speaks. The principle to carry forward is this: land is the first economy. Control of land is control of livelihood and future. Ask yourself, what part of land, livelihood, and environmental protection have I treated as normal even though it should be visible, answerable, and correctable? The system shapes our lives. Our participation shapes the system.
Subscribe.
Learn, participate, shape the future. KJA, knowledge justifies authority.